Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. First of all, thank you for coming on the channel. Thank you for subscribing, for watching, for interacting. You know, I do this because of you guys. If you weren't watching, I wouldn't do it. And a special thank you to everyone that has watched, picked up, reviewed, said nice things about the Savant deck. I'm really, really happy. I've had a very prominent name in Magic that contacted me and said he's reviewing it soon. He thinks it's probably the best thing that I've ever done. And you know what? It was super fun to do with Lloyd Barnes, and the feedback we're getting from it is amazing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Now, if you're new to the Q&A, basically I'm going to rattle through a bunch of questions. If you want to have your question answered, get it to me ASAP. Leave it in the comments of this video. I will get to it next week. I typically film these on a Monday or a Tuesday, so if you want to guarantee to get your question answered, put it in as soon as possible. I'm a little bit late this week. I'm filming it on the Thursday morning. But typically it's normally on a Monday or a Tuesday. Also, you're getting my raw, unfiltered opinions. I haven't actually read these questions beforehand. If I think a question it would be good as a subject of a future video, I will do that at some point down the line. With that being said, once again, I really appreciate every one of you, and it's time. It's time for this week's Q&A. So first of all, we've got a question from Yinhao Magic, who says, "Hello, Craig. Long shot, but I'd love to request a Savant deck for review, please." Yeah, look, I don't handle the review copies for Murphy's, but here's what I want you to do. Message Bo, because I really like your review channel. So message Bo Kramer. He basically manages all the Murphy's socials. So if you message Murphy's on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to get through to Bo. And just say, "Bo, Craig Petty's asked me to contact you. He said, could we get Murphy's to send a review copy over to you, please?" Tell him that I'm okay with it, and that if he doesn't, I will take pictures of his naked feet and share them around on the internet all over the place. And I will even set up an OnlyFans account called Bo Kramer's Naked Feet, and I will push it out to everyone that I can. So hopefully that will get you a review copy. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician. By the way, Divishan, it was great to see you in London, and that card routine that you showed me was really, really good. I was very impressed, and I hope you're working on making it your own, because it was fantastic, really good work. Divishan says, "How do you reset phone tricks without it literally looking like you're on the phone in a gig? I usually go to the side and reset things between tables, but how do you do this with a phone trick without looking like I'm texting?" Most of the apps that I use, in fact, all of the apps I use, they're kind of an instant reset. I use iThump, Toxic Plus, Digital Force Bag, Joshua Riley's thing with the credit card, which is amazing. The new Nick Einhorn and Craig Squires one, where it's kind of a virtual card to wallet. I do that quite a lot. I don't do the more complicated stuff like inject and things like that. So a lot of the time, I'm not having to worry, to be perfectly honest, about resetting. All I have to do is just take my phone out, put it away in my pocket, and I'm reset. So I'm not the person to ask, really, to be honest. You don't want to have it look like you're on the phone. I mean, what I would say to the client maybe ahead of time is you do a lot of phone-based magic, you do a lot of tech-based magic. So when you are on your phone, maybe they will understand that it's because you're setting something up. But outside of that, can't really help you unless, like, if there's something that's got too long a reset, regardless of what it is, I wouldn't bother. When you say usually I go to the side to reset things, the reset's more than sort of 20 seconds for me. I don't bother. I don't want to go to the side and reset it. I ideally want to reset in between tables. And if I can't do that, normally it's a hard pass. So maybe you should apply that same thing to tech magic. Okay, so the next question is Chris Gary, who says, "Hi, Craig. Thanks for all you do for the magic community and for the knowledge and skills that you've shared over many years. You are a legend." Thank you. I don't think I am, but I appreciate that. "I do magic as a hobby and sometimes perform to family and friends. This may seem of a tricky question to answer, but I thought I'd ask it anyway. I've worked for 10 years now with adults and children who have sight loss. This involves working with people who have some vision and a smaller percentage of people who have no vision at all. I was hoping for performing some tricks to a group of my clients. I can perform tricks using rope, coins, cards, cups and balls and scarves. I've adapted some of my tricks and props to be appropriate for people with sight loss, such as bigger, brighter and high contrast things. And some tricks can be done in a person's hand, but I'm struggling to think of some appropriate tricks for people that are totally blind. I've got some large print cards with braille, but that's all. Could you suggest any tricks using people's bodies or using sound, mentalists or anything else that might work? Any ideas would be much appreciated. Thank you. Bodies or sound? Using bodies, sound, mentalist. Okay, so a couple of ideas, and really I don't really have too much to offer on this, but a couple of ideas. There's a really good Joshua J trick, and I can't remember the name of it, Out of Sight, I think, which potentially would work very, very well. Now, one thing that I've done a couple of times in the past when I was working restaurants and somebody would come in and they would be blind, if I was sitting down at a table, I would instant stooge them. So I would kind of put my foot on their foot, and what I would do is I would make them understand through scripting that I'm cueing them to help them with the trick. So for example, Out of This World is a great example. You can have a deck of cards that the spectator shuffles and it's set up to Out of This World. You do a normal Out of This World to everybody else, but to the person here, well, it could even be a marked deck. So for example, you could say, I'm going to take this shuffled deck of cards, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal it into two piles. And we're going to hold it face down. We're not going to look at the cards. Obviously, you're not going to look at the cards. But if you think it's a black card and you push on their foot, let me know and I'll deal it on one side of the table. If you think it's a red card, don't push on their foot. I'm going to deal it on the other side. So you understand black, and I push again, red, black, red, and I'm kind of reinforcing, I'm pushing down on their foot every time I say black, and then I kind of say, do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to make you look like $1 million. You just have to work with me. Now, they always understand what you're doing. So now you're going through this Out of This World, which looks impossible because you're literally looking at the marks and telling them where to place the cards, right? From the audience's point of view, you're just doing what the person says, and at the end, all of the red cards and all of the black cards have separated. They look like an absolute hero, and at the end, I shake their hands and I say, remember, I don't know how you did this. This is all you. You're going to have people ask you, you know, remember, a magician never reveals their trick. And it's something that people will talk about for a very, very long time. It's really strong, and they will really appreciate that. Outside of that, you know, if it's somebody that's totally blind, you might want to consider, I mean, I don't know what environments you perform in, but potentially an emotion box type thing where they put their hand in the box and they feel one thing and then they bring something else out. That might work. That's the sort of thing that might work, because they can feel and tell them what it is, and then when they bring them out, it's something completely different. That potentially could work. Fragrance by Magic Dream, that could work as well because it's based on smell. But outside of that, I don't really have much. What I'll do is I'll do some research into it and I'll put a video together, sort of the best tricks to show to somebody completely blind. But hopefully that kind of gives you a rough idea. And thanks for asking the question. Okay, so we got a question from Pankala, who says, one, I see a lot of talk about mnemonica having a lot of built-in qualities that makes it one of the best stacks, but I've not seen anyone actually say what those benefits are. What are they? You know what? I don't really use any benefits of the stack really, other than one. Look, there's tons of like things built into it, like poker deals. If you read mnemonica, there's a ton of stuff that's built into it, and all of the stuff that I was reading, I was like, I wouldn't use that. 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 It's all stuff that's kind of not really of an interest to me. Now, the one thing that I will say is, what's the guy? Pitt Hartling, Memdeck book. What's the name of Pitt Hartling's Memdeck book? In Order to Amaze, that's right. So In Order to Amaze, which is in stock currently at Vanishing Ink, and it's an amazing book. He goes through something called, I think it's called Quartet. I think it's called the Quartet System. I do it, but I can't remember what he called it. I'm trying to see. I don't know. It's called Quartet, I think it is. He goes through a system that allows you to use mnemonica to produce a 4 of a kind, because he's worked out how you can memorize where the 4 of each card is in a mem deck, and how you get there. So there's a ton of really cool stuff using this principle. Half the book is normal mem deck stuff. Half the book is using this principle. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to do a lot of visual magic with a mem deck. The problem with the mem deck is normally the magic isn't visual. Normally it's cerebral, right? But it allows you to do very visual magic, which is pretty cool. And lots of 4 ace productions and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's really the best use of it that I could say. I mean, if you want a deck that really has got a bunch of built-in principles, I would go for the Shadow Stack. So the Shadow Stack, which was published on Recall by Tom Crosby, is the best stack ever because he has got tons of stuff built into it. He's got David Williamson routines built into it. He's got a story deck built into it. There's particular cards put in particular places for particular reasons. The Shadow Stack is brilliant. So if you were going to want a deck that's got a ton of stuff built into it, I would suggest the Shadow Stack. But you can learn a load of that stuff from mnemonica. But honestly, all of it didn't really inspire me. The best tricks, in my opinion, with a mem deck are the ones that will work with any stack. Next question again from Punkala is, do you get tax deductions on the tricks that you buy? I don't know about UK laws, but at least in my country, if you're a professional magician, you can get tax benefits for buying tricks as they are the tools of your trade. I'm in a slightly different position because I own a company. I'm a director of a company, so I'm actually employed. So yeah, if you're self-employed, you can have tricks that you buy and you can have them offset against how much tax you have to pay in January. I can do the same, but with corporation tax. So I can, but it doesn't affect how much I make or anything like that. It gets very, very complicated. But basically, as a company, I have to pay corporation tax. So I have to pay corporation tax. 3 different companies, 3 different sets of corporation tax. And then I also have VAT bills. So I have VAT bills that I have to pay every quarter, 3 companies, 12 VAT bills, effectively a VAT bill every single month. So with the VAT bills, I can reduce the VAT. So the idea is that I have to pay 20% of everything I charge to the government, but I can claim back anything that I've paid from a company that's VAT registered. So if I'm buying something from America, I can't claim it back because that's how the law works, but I could from Alakazam or Vanishing, for example. But yes, so it works slightly differently for me in my situation, but yeah, absolutely, you can get tax deductions for the tricks that you buy as somebody who runs a magic company. You kind of have to do that. Okay, so the next question is from Costa Magic, who says, thanks very much for everything you do and constantly sharing your knowledge. You're more than welcome. I have a question. I'm thinking about creating an act where I have someone on stage mix a Rubik's Cube while I pass another cube around the audience for several people to mix. When everyone is done, I reveal that the cube mixed by the audience and the one mixed by the person on stage have the same pattern. In your opinion, what's the best method to achieve this effect? I was considering using the Venom Cube along with the switch of one of the cubes, but I'm sure the best way to perform that switch, or if the Venom Cube is even the ideal tool for this result. The problem with the Venom Cube is that the way that it works is one of the cubes is handed out to be mixed. The other cube can't be mixed because it is gimmicked and it is unable to be mixed. You can't even turn it. And then what will happen is during the course of showing that the cubes match, you could then turn the cube if you wanted to. But in terms of, so you couldn't have a spectator on stage mixing up one of the Venom cubes and have the audience mix up another Venom cube. That wouldn't work. So your only option there would be to switch the cubes. That would be the only option really, would be to switch the cubes. So yeah, I mean, you could switch a regular cube for one of the Venom cube, for the gimmicked Venom cube, while the other Venom cube is being mixed. So you could, for example, have some sort of switching device, and you can have a Venom cube in there. You could have a Venom cube ready to be switched in. You could bring out the 2 regular cubes, have the Venom cube out to the audience, and have them mix it. Take the other regular cube, give it to the person on stage to mix. You then take their cube back, put it in on the table, for example, and switch it, and then come back and get the other cube, and then you're into Venom cube. So that would work. You'd have to find a good switching device to be able to do that. but that would be possible. The other thing is, you know, I think it's, was it Carl Hein that came up with a really nice sequence with a paper bag. So you have like a paper bag, and the idea is that you take a cube and you mix it up, you have it mixed up, and you put it in the bag and you show it's solved. And then they realize that the other cube's inside the bag, and that you just, and that's the gag that switches in. But that wouldn't work because that's only one cube, but you might be able to alter it. Yeah, that's what I'd do. So I think the best route, I don't know if this would work. John Allen brought out something called Cube Tube, which was like a see-through plinth with a cover that was put over it, and the cover would deposit the gimmicks for the Venom cube onto the cube that was put on top of the see-through plinth. So that way you could actually add the gimmicks onto the outside of the cube at the end, but the cube that gets the gimmicks added onto would still need to be in a particular pattern for that trick to work. So you could maybe hand one cube out to be mixed, take a regular cube, have somebody mix that regular cube, switch it for a Venom cube, put it on the plinth, and that would add the gimmicks onto it. I think that might be a way to go, but again, you'd still have to work out that switch. But when you're talking about switching kind of effectively a regular cube for a regular cube, that would be an easier situation to go into. So that's what I'd probably do. Maybe. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. The other thing, you know, the other way, it depends on the size of the audience, but one other thing you could do, if you're performing to a big audience and you've got to go into the audience to get the cube, you could start off by taking a regular cube out and giving it to the audience to pass around and mix. And you give the Venom cube, or the kind of ungimmicked shuffleable Venom cube, to the guy on stage, the person on stage. They're mixing that up, and you have a top it on. And you basically, they're mixing, and as you go into the audience, you have another cube, you have the other Venom cube under your jacket. So as you go in the audience and you take their cube back, as you turn around, you top it that cube, and you just reach under and you grab the other cube, and nobody would see anything because you're walking back to the stage, and then you take the other cube back off them and you're good to go. Or you could have an assistant. If you've got an assistant in your show, the assistant could switch the cube out as they are getting it, which is something that we did on America's Got Talent with Ryland with pictures. So that's an option as well. There's a few different options, but maybe that'll give you a few ideas. So John2239 says, "Hello, Craig. It's so nice to see you looking chipper and relaxed recently. I feel great, John. Sometimes I mention using a butt magnet to end a coin routine. Where can I source one, please? Many thanks, John." A butt magnet is just my term for a magnet that I shove in my back pocket. So it can be any powerful magnet that fits into your back pocket. I tend to use a big, chunky neodymium magnet that just sits in my back pocket, and it just means that when I've got something palmed, I come back with my hand and just touch it to my back pocket, and immediately it sticks into that position. So you can't actually get a butt magnet. There's not really a butt magnet that you can get, but you can get a magnet that sits in your back pocket, and it needs to be fairly powerful and quite flat, but other than that, anything will work. The other thing I should say is I've used Chop many times as a butt magnet. So I'll put Chop the pen in my back pocket, clipped over the top so it's inside my pocket, but it's clipped to the top of the pocket, and the magnet in Chop is so strong it makes a perfect butt magnet. So if you've got Chop, you can just clip it into your back pocket and you're good to go. So Caleb D'Amico says, "Hi Craig, just finished my second magic gig at Chick-fil-A I work at. Brilliant. They had me for a shark-themed event, and I picked up some Riffle Shuffle shark cards, and I was the card shark. Overall, everything went amazing. The people loved it, and it was an incredible experience. First of all, I want to genuinely say thank you to all of your generosity towards helping others achieve success, because I would not have been in this situation without Magic TV. Thank you very much, Craig. Don't thank me. You did this all of yourself, buddy, and you really did. That is incredible. Well done. With that being said, I have two questions on this experience of having to use pure skill and sleight of hand with a deck of cards. Right. First, since the goal of us magicians' jobs is to entertain the guests, shouldn't we use the tricks with the best reactions, even if it's done a lot, like Ambitious Card and Omni Deck? Second of all, the experience really did teach me how little tricks I know with a normal deck. Where is somewhere where I could find high quality, quick paced, fun tricks using just sleight of hand with a normal deck? Great questions. So, first answer. So look, yeah, the most important thing, I've always said this, the most important thing is the reactions. You want people to react to your magic. And if you're saying that Omnideck and Ambitious Card are tricks that you get great reactions from, absolutely you should include those. But you have to understand that that's not the only tricks you're going to get reactions from. The problem that a lot of magicians have is they find a trick, they get a reaction from that trick, and they continue to do it, and they don't they don't change their set around. And the problem is a lot of tricks fall into that category. So the reason why everyone does Ambitious Card is because it's designed to really get people very impressed with it. But, you know, the card keeps coming to the top of the deck. There's lots of visual moments that are very clear to understand. But there's lots of other tricks like that. Coins across is a perfect example. Card to pocket is a perfect example. Twisting the aces is a perfect example. Card in the box is a perfect example. The list goes on and on and on. So you want to try and make sure that you are constantly looking for more material that will help you get better reactions. And the way to do that is just constantly look for new material and don't be afraid to work it in. You're never going to get the best reactions the first time you work a trick in. You get better reactions by doing it again and again and again, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I mean, don't fall into that trap of being the person that does the same 5 tricks over and over again, is what I'm trying to say. Look for other stuff that you can do as well. There's lots of other tricks that get the best reactions. You just need to go out and find the ones that fit you the best. And in terms of tricks with a normal deck, I mean, I'm going to be biased and say the Netrix. I'm going to be biased and say my first Card Magic Academy. I'm going to be biased and say the lecture that I did in the Alon Magic Society. I'm doing another lecture on Sunday. And there's going to be some incredible material in there, including an ACAM with a regular deck. So make up. Sunday's today. Yeah, it's today. Go and sign up right now. There's going to be a ton of stuff going on in there. But yeah, so, but outside of that, my first Alakazam Academy. Right, okay, so outside of me, just go old school. You know, you go on Bill Malone's L&L DVDs. You're going to see a ton of material. A lot of stuff by John Gustafaro. You're going to see a lot of stuff with a regular deck of cards. A lot of stuff by John G, always with a regular deck. Go and get his 2 books as well. Go and get all of his ebooks. Those are perfect places to start. A lot of stuff by Michael Close. Go look at the Workers series. That's got some tricks with a regular deck of cards that's really good. And then go and look at some of the classics. Go and look at some of the classics of Magic. Look at Card College, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. Look at Card College Lighter. Look at some of David Regal's books. They've got some great card material in. Look at Peter Duffy. Go look up some of the stuff from Eldo Colombini from back in the day. You know, just Jay Sankey, Revolutionary Card Magic, has some great card material. Richard Sanders from the Sankey Sanders shows, and if you can get his old DVD set, the Sankey show or something like that, got some great stuff with regular decks. Yeah, I mean, that's a good place to start. Some of Christian Grace's stuff is amazing. Go look at his membership, because he's got some great stuff on there. Any of those places, there's a ton of material out there with a regular deck. Look at Andy Gladwin's book. I think it flew under the radar a little bit, but Andy's got some great stuff with regular cards. John Bannon, look at Smoke and Mirrors, look at Impossibilia, look at John's older stuff, and you'll see some incredible material. His new stuff is great as well, but his older stuff, so much great card material. Anything like that will really set you on the right path. Okay, so the next question is Sean Quito, who says, "Hi Craig, it's the New Day fan. Can't believe you're still a fan of New Day. They're heels now, don't you know? You're supposed to boo them." Anyway, 2 questions for you. At the moment, I can't afford to subscribe to the Netrix, but I want to learn your Benson Bowl routine using my Sponge Unicorns. Is there a way to learn Benson Bowl without being a member to the Netrix? It's only on the Netrix. If I get time, I'll do a tutorial on Magic TV as well. It won't be this month because I've got an insanely busy month. But July, before I go to FISM, I should have time. So I'll see what I can do and put it in there, okay? But yeah, Benson Bowl is amazing. Definitely well worth learning. 2, I'm hesitant to post Magic online and making a Magic account due to possibly the trick being exposed. What should I do? Thanks, I appreciate you so much. Well, look, I wouldn't worry about it because if you're worried about the trick being exposed, there's a million exposure channels out there, and this is not the video right now to get into exposure. But honestly, most of the people that expose magic, the people that see those exposure videos, they'll watch it, they might post a comment, but a day later they've forgotten what they've seen. The amount of people that I've gone and performed for, and they've, you know, many times, I'll do something with a thumb tip, and they'll talk about owning a thumb tip, and they didn't even realize I used it. You know, short form content, which is where most of the exposure happens. You know, the thing with short form content is you don't remember what you watched an hour ago, let alone a day ago, let alone a week ago, let alone a month ago. But don't let that be a reason for you not to post magic online. If you want to post magic online, if you enjoy doing that, then go and do it. If you don't enjoy it, don't bother. But don't worry about exposure. That's something that you don't need to worry about when it comes, you know, when you first start posting, you're going to have such a small amount of people that follow you or watch you. It won't be an issue. Okay, so the next question is Divishan Magician, who says, do you think a top change is necessary to learn when you can just do a double lift? The double lift, where you secretly turn over one card face up with your leg and then have their card on the top or the bottom and then flip over two cards. I appreciate this is more unnatural and long, but I think this is more simple than learning a top change. Do you think a top change is necessary to learn if you can just do this? What are some routines utilizing a top change where maybe this alternative wouldn't be possible? I think it's really important to learn the top change just because it's got me out of trouble an awful lot. Like a hell of a lot, it's got me out of trouble. There's many times where I screwed up a trick and I haven't got the card, and they're holding the card and it's not the card, and I cull their card to the top and I do a top change, and it'd be kind of a weird thing to do a double lift in that position. The other thing, so for example, one of the routines I do when I do card magic is very simple. I'll just control the card second from top. So I'll do a Slipstream Control by Troy Hooser. I'll control the card second from top and I'll just do a spin out. So I'll do the spin out and I'll catch the card. And I'll say, is that your card? And they go, no. And on that offbeat, I do a top change. Now, the thing is, I want to do a top change at that point because I don't want the audience to feel like I've put the card back on top of the deck. The effect is the card's spinned out, I've caught it, is that your card? No. And it's gone nowhere near the deck and it's changed. Now, you couldn't do that with the method that you're suggesting, because in order to do that, I'd have to do the control, second from top. I'd have to spin the card out. As I'm showing it, I'd have to reverse the card. Then I'd have to come up, I'd have to put the card on the deck for no reason at all. Then I'd have to turn it back over and take it and then have it change. What the top change is good for is affecting a change with a card where the card is apparently nowhere near the deck. The problem with a lot of magicians, especially new magicians, and I'm not saying you're a new magician, Divishan, but a lot of the problems with a lot of magicians is they don't justify the actions that they use. And I do this sometimes, but as a coin magician, as somebody who's got a background in coin magic, I really think about justifying every move I do, because as a coin magician, that's what you've got to do. I'm going to put the coin in this hand. Why am I doing that? What's the reason? What's the reason for the coin to go over there? Well, I'm going to pick something up with this hand. Well, why am I not picking up with this hand? Because it's over here on this side of the table. Okay, that makes sense. So it's the same with card magic. I want to justify everything. There is no justifiable reason why I should put the card back on top of the deck to then just take it off a second later. You'll find that if you learn a top changing and get comfortable with the top change, it will give you lots of moments, lots of possibilities. When I do a 10 card multiple selection, which I do an awful lot, 2 of the revelations use top changes in different ways. So top change for me is awesome. It effectively, you know, could you get away with not doing it and just do a double lift? Yes. But the magic will be stronger if they feel that the card has gone nowhere near the deck. Lay people aren't stupid. They know that if you put the card on top of the deck and then take it away, there's effectively a way that you can switch it. The thing with the top change is it's invisible when you do it correctly. So they're not going to see that card go on top of the deck and then turn over and take them back. From their point of view, using proper blocking, using proper technique, using proper misdirection, using proper audience management, you've got a card, and then it changes. And that's the power of the top change. Next question is Matthew Rothamel, who says, hello, Craig. I'm a huge fan. Thank you. I've purchased countless projects from you, and I've enjoyed almost every one. I've noticed, though, that you don't seem to have any work on ITR, or maybe I'm just not aware of it. I'd like to know what your opinion is on ITR, and if you have any suggestions on a reliable product maybe other magicians might not be aware of. Yiga Masika's projects excluded, as that are pretty much well known. Thanks for all you do. I don't really do much with thread. Ryland is super into thread. I have a gravity reel. I've used it a few times, played around with it. I think it's great. However, I keep it very simple, and I typically will use loops, ties, whatever you want to call them. And one thing that I do really enjoy doing is a trick by Justin Miller. I think it's called ring slide, where you have a pen and you have a ring. The ring goes onto the pen, and you have the spectator put their hand here, and you just do this, and the ring slides to the end of the pen and slides off and into their hands. I love doing that. That is amazing. My attitude towards floating stuff is I want to keep it less is more. My problem with floating stuff is normally when you float something, the method is the method that the spectator's thinking of, which is not a problem, because as long as it looks, you know, magical and, you know, so on and so forth. Like Ryland does Dancing Cane beautifully. I'm convinced some people in the audience are going to think, well, that's a thread. They can't see it, they don't know, but that's what they're thinking because it's the logical place to think, right? But I do love watching thread. I love watching Ryland perform flying linking rings and all his thread stuff. It's beautiful. It's just not something that I do. It's not something that I'm really that interested in. But you will catch me occasionally doing stuff with loops, but that's really it. Okay, so the next question is, hi Craig, I was wondering if you're doing a video on Creditswipe and a video on short change. And this is I'm Too Young to Die. And the answer is yes. I filmed a sort of an expose of short change. That's going to be uploaded, I think, Monday or Tuesday next week. So yes, is the answer to that question. The Creditswipe, I did a kind of a Q&A on it, but I haven't done a sort of an exposure video. I am going to do that. I'm hoping to get that up next week as well. So yeah, watch out for both of those videos. They should be going up in the next week or so. Next question is I'm Too Young to Die again, who says, my second question, are you still making a video on the 100th monkey with the card that comes with Evoke? Yes, I am. It's something that I've put on the back burner because I've got so much going on, and I'm trying to get all the other videos that people ask for. I'm very, very busy at the moment. It's ridiculous. But yes, I am going to get onto that, although I'm getting the cupcake video up first. So that'll go up first, but you will be seeing this that video at some point. Kevin's Wiz says, you didn't just do a hows and whys on Tool, but you made it freaking awesome because truth be told, the tutorial sucks. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I love Tool, and I like to put a lot of effort into it. So if you enjoyed it, I appreciate it. Next question is from RJ000, who says, hi Craig, thank you for considering my question. I have a young magic student who has recently expressed an interest in the dancing cane. I'm a little out of my wheelhouse with the dancing cane and was wondering where I could find a decent cane that won't break the budget. Since Ryland has a dancing cane in his act, my hope is that you can point me in the direction for a good cane. My student is currently in grade 5 and I don't want to break the bank in case this interest passes. I really enjoy this channel. Hope it continues. Thank you again. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would say, I mean, the one that Ryland uses, he's got about 5 or 6 canes. But the one that he uses the most is the one that was marketed by TCC a little while ago. It's fiberglass. The thread with it is really nice. It's just a very good cane. It works really well. That's a really good one. That's the best one that I've actually seen for the problem is some canes are terrible. If you get the wrong cane, they're not balanced right. They're too light or they're too heavy. They don't float very well. And it doesn't matter how good your technique is, you can't make it look great. So you want to have something that's just weighted correctly. And I would say go for the ones that were marketed by TCC. They are the best canes that I've seen, and they're made out of fiberglass, so they look really good. I think it's about 80 or 90 pounds, so it's not the cheapest, but it's the one that I would go to. Bond Lee put something out a little while ago called Aero, which is a lot cheaper, but I wasn't too keen, and Ryman didn't like it either. So I would say go for the TCC one. Okay, so the next question is from Elk245, who says, would it be possible for you to share videos of you performing at different events? You always talk about you performing at weddings, corporate events, and so on, but there isn't much of that on the channel. I know it's easy to get an okay to film for sure. It'd be great if you could make a video about that and how you prepare for each. Maybe like a documentary format, or maybe a day in the life with Craig, or day in the week with Craig, something along those lines. I have done a lot of live performance videos on this channel over the years. I've been running this channel now for about 4 years, and I've put a ton of live performances on here. And I try to do more when I can, but the problem is my time is very limited. between everything that I do, and you know, this is kind of basically, this channel is a hobby for me, and it takes up so much time sometimes. Like, I've been sitting here all day. It's Thursday, it's now 1 o'clock, and I've been sitting here since 9 o'clock filming videos. So, you know, and when you get live performances, it becomes even more problematic. So I'm not saying I won't. In fact, I put up a live performance special on the Savant deck on Thursday, and that was all live performances, and I even did a commentary track over the top as well. So I will be doing more of it, and I am conscious that people want to see more, so I will be doing more. But it's just it's just as and when, you know, I have to fit it into my schedule. Okay, so Moshia Bia says, first up, Craig, I love every single one of your releases. I'm especially in love with the Atomic deck. Here's the issue. I can't figure out how to get onto the Facebook groups of the Atomic deck. Truly, any one of your products and others. If you can explain how to do so, that'd be amazing. Love your work. Please continue to release bangers. I don't know what to tell you. You just go to Facebook and you just search Atomic deck, and it'll come up as a group. Maybe you click the group tab at the top, and it'll come up as groups, and then you click on join, and one of the moderators will accept you into the group. That's kind of how you use it. I haven't really got a direct link into it, but I've never had anyone have a problem. You just, like I say, go on Facebook, search for Atomic Deck. I think it's Atomic Deck Private Discussion Group or something, but just put Atomic Deck and it'll come up. Click on groups and it'll only show you groups. And then when you're there, click on join and job done. Okay, so the next one is from Arovez. I think I've butchered your name, I'm so sorry. Hi Craig, hello. I've been doing mentalism for 4 or 5 years, and only in the past year started diving into books to learn the real work. But I keep running into the same thing. A lot of the material I like, some Max Maven stuff, relies on stooges, pre-show, or methods that I see that pros aren't really using. To be clear, they're using some of them, but not really. Then I watch performers like Oz Perlman and Joe Rogan and other top mentalists doing incredible stuff, and I wonder, where do you actually learn that kind of material? It's not just Oz. Mostly working pros seem to use methods I can never find in books. So what are the books or resources that go beyond the basics and teach the high-level stuff that pros really use? So here's the thing, like, pros typically are using the same methods that are in the books, but they're adapting them to their own personalities. They're normally adding methods. They're combining methods together to make something unique. And you'll find these methods. You just have to keep searching. Have you looked into Richard Osterlin, for example? A lot of pros use the sort of stuff that he put out. Look at Luca Volpe, people like that. The other thing that I'll say is a lot of pros gravitate towards electronic methods these days. Not everyone, but a lot of pros are doing electronic stuff. And that obviously will make things look very, very different. You're not going to find that in a book. You find it by looking at, you know, electronic tricks online and so on and so forth, Pro Mystic and things. And then there's very underground stuff that you only find out at conventions, and you'll have people that are like part of a clique that will be talking amongst each other, stuff that's really being kept secret, that's being kept away from the masses because they want to keep it for themselves, and it's like the real deal. You tend to find that sort of stuff sometimes as well. One thing that I would suggest is that you subscribe to Mark Elsden's newsletter. So Mark Elsden, who's an amazing mentalist in his own right, every week he puts out a newsletter, and basically it comes out every Sunday, and it's a list of things that he's seen in magic that week that he thinks are amazing. And it can be a prop, it can be a product, it can be a link to an article, it can be a new trick, it can be an old trick, it can be, and because he's known so well and he's so connected within the industry, he drops a lot of hidden gems there, and you can subscribe to his newsletter. It's a very small amount that you pay, and you get all the good stuff. Like, I found out about stuff that I didn't know by having a subscription to his it's called the Fig. By having a subscription to the Fig, I found out about stuff that I never would have found out about if I hadn't been a subscriber. So if you want to know about the real kind of secret information behind the scenes, I would speak to Mark Elsden and see if you can get a subscription to the Fig. Okay, so the next question is Hungry and Hungover, who says, hi Craig, I recently started using a thumb tip and I love it. I searched your channel to see if you had any videos about using one, and in 2 Q&A videos from a year ago, you were talking about making a Hows and Whys video for the thumb tip. Could you make one? I would benefit greatly from your knowledge. And then somebody has said, I also love a Hows and Whys of the thumb tip video. I like to bring mine out with me, but I'm having trouble conceiving of things to do beyond vanishing a Kleenex, cigarette through a shirt, or passe salt. I'm looking for semi-impromptu miracles I can do when out socially. And then Hungry and Hungover has said, same. I only do a few things with it. A really good one is to have a 10 or 12 Canadian dimes loaded in and have a piece of paper from a notepad. I write the word money on one side and show them the blank side. I ask them, what is somebody everyone wishes for if they had more of? They say money. Flip it around a few times like a dollar bill, wrap it around the thumb, make a little wave, and then pour out all the dimes onto the table into their hand. And to clean up, just reverse the action. It's one of my new favourite effects to do. Yeah, it's a great trick. So yes, I have been meaning to do this for years. This is something that keeps... The problem is I have like whiteboards and lists of everything that I want to do. Certain videos take longer than others. So you'll see big videos getting dropped from time to time on this channel that take a lot of time, they take a lot of research, and then stuff that doesn't take that long, like opening my close-up case and showing you what's in it, does not take long. And I have to produce a lot of content on this channel as well as doing everything else. And the thumb tip thing is an example of a video that will probably take about 2 or 3 weeks. So every single time I go to do it, something else comes up. Now, so I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. I've got a House and Wise coming up soon, very soon, on Cupcake. After I've done Cupcake, because everybody was asking about that one. After I've done Cupcake, I will get onto the thumb tip one, I promise. So we'll get it out as soon as we can. Next question is Craig by GR Girl, who says, hi Craig, what are your thoughts on Cypher Pro by Robert Smith? I found your review from the Wizard product review 14 years ago and you didn't seem to like it. Do you still feel this way? Seems like a very popular utility and I was considering getting it. Honestly, I can't remember it very well. A lot of the stuff that I said on the Wizard product review might not necessarily be relevant now. I'm a different person now than I was 14 years ago. But what I will say is Robert Smith's a great magician. I don't really know, I can't remember Cypher Pro very well. Honestly, if you have to ask me to describe it now, I don't think I could. So look, why don't I do a review show revisited, and I'll take 3 or 4 of the tricks that I reviewed on the Wizard product review back in the day, and I will try and revisit them and see if my opinion's changed, and we'll make one of them Cypher Pro. Okay, so the next question is, what are some beginner mentalism tricks that only use a pen and a paper that I could teach to a group of friends? And that's by Adrian Suter. Well, you could cut the paper up into strips and teach them a very basic version of binary system. So, for example, you could have just 4 pieces of paper, and you can have a list of your friends, and you write out on another piece of paper the list of celebrities, for example, and you write them from 1 to 15, list of celebrities, and then put them on the pieces of paper and teach them the binary system. Which is a really simple system, but if you teach them without using numbers and use something else instead, I think that's something that they would absolutely love. Then you could teach them a simple equivoke. So, for example, teach them teach them, have them write down 5 names, 5 celebrities. And, you make sure that one of them you've got a prediction for ahead of time, and teach them how to equivoke by scribbling out names, so that you end up with one name, which is the one that you've predicted. Something like that would work really well. Teach them a magic square, because obviously if you've got a pen and a piece of paper, you can teach them a magic square. That's a classic of magic. Teach them some math-based tricks. So teach them the 1089 force. Teach them the number 9 force. Stuff like that would work really well. Yeah, I think that, I don't think you'd want to get too into peaks really for beginners. I don't think that's the route that you'd want to go down, but anything like that I think would work pretty well, to be perfectly honest. I think that would be something that I think would be easy. So Master of Criminology says, for the question regarding dry hands, I'd also recommend Burt's Bee Lotion. O'Keeffe's cream is good, but some may prefer moisturize, and Burt's Bees is an excellent option. Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate you letting us know. I've not heard of it, but I'll definitely try it out. Okay, so the next question is Anthony Povey, who says, hi, Craig. I've recently watched What's Inside Craig's Close-Up Case, 2025. Love those videos. I saw a trick that you did with some credit cards. You said this will be coming out with Murphy's. Can you tell us any more about it, please? Somebody said it's out now. It's called Creditswipe. Tells me about Creditswipe. Yeah, okay, so I've got 3 more credit card tricks coming out. I went through a credit card phase about 2 years ago, and you're starting to see what happened with that credit card phase. Ironically, the first one of all of these credit card tricks were created and developed before Chris James released his Merge and Transfer and Surge. And actually, he when he released all of those, or when he was developing all of them, he asked me if it was okay, because some of them were kind of a little bit similar to stuff I was doing, and I was like, yeah, it's fine, and it's amazing. But sometimes things take a long time to come out, so that's just the way that is. But yeah, Creditswipe has come out. I've got a really cool one with Murphy's. I just need to film it. Everything's done with it. I just need to film it, and I think it's the one that I'm going to film in California. I just need to wait for somebody to come forward with the golden ticket, because the winner is going to film that project with me. And I will tell you that this credit card number that I've had on my arm for about 4 years is part of that trick. The reason I put it on my arm is because I love the trick so much. I wanted the credit card number on my arm because all my tattoos mean something to me. So the trick with that credit card number is coming out from Murphy's when somebody claims the golden ticket for the Atomic deck. And then I've got 2 tricks coming out with Alakazam, both of which are credit card tricks, both of which were designed by Phil Smith. So that's pretty cool. He designed the credit cards and they look absolutely amazing. I'm filming those in about a month's time, but when they come out, I don't know. So there you go. That's all I'm done with credit cards. I think that's everything. Okay, so the next one is Trust Me, I'm a Magician, who says, hi Craig, recently got business cards to help promote my magic videos. I'd like to be able to do a trick with the business cards before I give them out. I know I've seen you sprinkle tricks into here and there on projects with business cards. I was wondering if you have an entire project involving business cards, or know where I could get my hands on some. Thanks for everything that you do. And so Adrian Suter said, Mark Strivings has a huge book on business cards, which is true. Very good, very good. Thank you very much for saying that, Adrian. Also, Jay Sankey has some great stuff with credit cards as well. It's worth checking out Jay's stuff. In terms of me, I wouldn't do a project on business cards, but what I might do is like a Hows and Whys on Magic TV and talk about like business cards and the different things that you can do with them and different effects. So that might be the way that I go with it. After I've done the thumb tip thing and the cupcake thing, I might go into I might go down that route. I think that'd be a good route to go down. So yeah, that would be the way to go. But look into some of Sankey's stuff off his big DVD sets that he had out years ago, because Boris Pokers from memory had some great stuff with business cards. So you might want to look into that as well. Yeah, that's the starting point, and leave it with me and I'll see if I can do a Hows and Whys at some point. Okay, so MCK Magic has 2 questions. Hope you're well. I'm very well, thank you, buddy. So question number 1, I seem to remember you using some sort of lavalier mic for videos a handful of months ago, possibly a Boya, but I'm not sure. Can you talk us to the pros and cons of using that type of mic? Not really. We bought a mic. It was about 100 quid, 150 quid. It was a nice mic, but people was moaning about the sound quality, and they said that it wasn't as good a sound quality with the mic. So we kind of just dropped it. So I can't really, I think we only used it for about 10 videos. So I can't really say much about it. So I can't really help with that one, I'm sorry. Next question. For Ryan's social media, he posts a lot of videos where he'll have patter throughout the trick and then somewhere where he's silent. I'm starting to make social media videos myself, and I'm wondering what would get more engagement, patter videos where rapport is built, or silent videos to appeal to the masses. Any thoughts would be much appreciated. I would say, thanks for answering our questions every week, you're more than welcome. I would say do the videos that you feel represent you best as an artist. Don't worry too much about getting views and gaming the algorithm or anything like that. Don't worry about any of that. Just try and put out the videos that you think, if you would prefer to speak on the video, speak on the video. If you prefer to do it to music, do it to music. Ryan likes doing a lot of stuff to music, so a lot of the things you're going to see him do are to music, but not always. So just, stick to what you think is best is the advice that I would give you. There's no right or wrong, and if you are approaching social media with the attitude of, right, okay, I'm going to try and get as many views as possible, you're just going to be constantly fed up with it. Look at Magic TV, for example. How many views do I get? Like, how many subscribers have I got? Like, less than 25,000. Lloyd's got 100,000 plus. If I was bothered that much about subscribers, that would really pee me off, but it doesn't. I don't really care, because I don't do it for that. I do it because I enjoy it. When you start thinking about subscribers and you start thinking about how many people are subscribing, you're just never going to be happy, and you're always just going to be chasing that next subscriber. And my attitude is, I put the videos out that I want to put, and if people want to watch it, they can. I would take that same approach. Next question is Adrian Suter, who says, hi Craig, there's many tricks out there that are visual and other tricks where the effect involves audio, like revealing a song. There's PK touches, but do you know of any tricks which involve smelling or tasting? Yeah, so the smell one, I know one of the smell ones. Magic Dream put out something at Blackpool called Fragrance, which is basically a little bit like Double Cross, but with smell. So you kind of have someone close their hand, and then you have a perfume bottle or something like that, and they smell it, and then the perfume goes away and the smell's not there, and when they smell their hand, it's in their hand. That's pretty cool. It's a little bit like a smell across type thing. Tasting, the thing that we're reviewing soon on the Craig and Ryan Review Show, which is water to Coke. That's a great one. Because what happens is you have this bottle of water, you turn it into a bottle of Coke, and when they taste it, it's actually changed into Coke, and they can taste it, and it really is Coke. That's a really cool thing to do. I've seen people in the past do like a Russian roulette, but they've done a Russian roulette with like water and with like vodka, but like really hardcore chili vodka or something like that. And the idea is they're having to take the shots, and they get the water, and they get the water, and they get the water, and the last one is the really nasty drink. I've seen people do stuff like that. Haven't really seen, and Too Hot to Handle technically is a kind of a thing like that, you know, where you can have liquid in a can change into another can. It was Kieran Johnson and RSVP. Now technically they were using it to change the liquid in the can, but you could adapt that very, very easily to have water, for example, change. So you could have a can of water, and you could, because what the system allows you to do is change what's inside the can. So you could have a can of water, and you could have, instead of water, flavoured water, for example. So it looks like water when you pour it out. So you could, for example, have this can of water, put the can of water down on the table, force a different drink or a different flavour, like orange, for example. And then when they tip the water out, it looks like water. You snap your fingers and they drink it, and it tastes like orange juice. That would be an example of something that you could do. I don't think that's designed for sort of Too Hot to Handle, but it's something you could definitely do using the same system if you bought it. So there you go, guys. That is another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Now, don't forget, got a video going up tonight, a really cool review show special. Make sure you look out for that. You want to see more videos like this, all you got to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm going to be back again tomorrow at 6 o'clock. With another magic, not 6 o'clock. I'm going to be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with another video. Ignore me. I'm going to be back at 9 o'clock with another video. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, please join the Netrix. It's my online streaming platform for magicians. It's the Netrix.com. You can get access to it immediately. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.